Yo, hope everyone is doing great. Just gonna get on all the feeds. Let's go. Great. So brilliant to have all of you here. Wonderful, great. So great to have everyone here. Again, how's everyone's day? How's everyone's day been so far? Good, great, brilliant. Just put it up on there. Just to let everyone know. So I have a YouTube feed here, I have my Instagram feed here, and Facebook feed here. I'm going to invite you to come up and actually join me on the Instagram feed. So if there's anything you want help on, any coaching you want, anything at all. So once I've gone through my bit, I always call this kind of my daily rant. Once I've gone through this, come onto Instagram, click on the request button. But what I'm going to do this time is, we had a few issues last time, right? A few people came in, cameras were pointing to the ceiling, could hear people in the background, and they just left it on request and they left their phone. So if you don't speak within 2 seconds when I get through to you, I'm going to cut you off. Okay, so 2 seconds I give you before I cut you off. So loads of questions in so far. So number one, thank you for everyone for all of your messages regarding the course I'm starting on Monday. Because of the demand, I've split it into two. So I've got two groups now. So there's a couple of places still. It's the business mindset momentum. So it's how to grow a business, how to make money during this time. And it's about growing your mindset and just a lot of self-development. So if that's something which you want, message me, send me a DM, PM, whatever it may be. I'll send you a message after this, but we start on Monday. So it has to be today, So just make sure you do it. So how's everyone's day been so far? Let me know whether you've had a good day, bad day, stunning day. Just put it down there. Okay. What has your day been like? Tell me about your wins. What kind of wins have you had? One of the things I always say that, what the successful people do to become successful, congratulate yourself on the wins, right? Small wins every single day. Success, I've always said, right? It's not it's not one big step, but it's a series of small steps. So whatever wins you've had today, put it down there. Someone's had a bad day. Okay, cool. Right. Main thing is ask yourself, why did I have a bad day? What happened? And, how can I make it better tomorrow? I always say that if we have 50 good days in a year, you're going to be great, right? 50 good days. Everyone goes, what do you mean 50 good days? I really do mean that. But on this journey to become more, do more, serve more, give more, to become this great entrepreneur we're trying to be, okay, to be able to get out there, to leave our mark in this world. I've always said, right, that most people, they are forgotten 2 months after they die, right? Most people forget most people 2 months after they die. Not your family, but the general world will forget about you 2 months after you die. And I'm sure if you're here right now listening to me on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you do not want to be that person who's forgotten 2 months after, right? The question is why? And it's because most people had an average life. They had an average birth, they had an average life, everything was average bank account, average kids, average family, average house, and in the end they died an average death. But if you want to have an extraordinary life, you got to do extraordinary things. And I've always said that, right? If you do what is easy, your life becomes hard. But if you do what is hard, your life becomes easy. Ask yourself every day, what am I doing today? What was the hardest thing I done today? Was outside of my comfort zone today? What did I fear today? Was I really scared of failing? Because if I put myself in that position each and every day to fail, then I'm going to grow. That I want each and every one of you to be in a place right now where every day you're just so worried about failing. The worry's okay, but you're in a place where you're growing, because when you're in that place of fear, then you grow. No one grows on good days. So you had that bad day. I'm happy because today you grew. Now you find the lesson from today, and that doesn't happen tomorrow. Okay. So that is the way we roll, right? It's okay to have a bad day. You can have 300 bad days in a year. As long as you have 50 good days, we're on to a winner. That's all on 50 good days. Okay. So good day, bad day, stunning day, brilliant day, just put it down there, and anything else you want to share. And for those on Instagram, click on request, not just yet, click on it in a while, but stay by your phones. I can get you on, share anything you want with me. But if you don't pick up within 2 seconds, I am going to cut you off. I need to leave this quite short. Got loads of client calls after this, so I need to make sure that I'm off here pretty soon. Right. So what is this going to be about? So I've always said that I'll be here as much as I can, and I'll share with you as much as I can during this time. I want you to be able to get the most out of this lockdown. I want you to be able to get more clients, make more money. All my clients right now, they're making more money right now, even though the doors are closed. And why that is because they're adding more value into their ecosystem. So my thing is right now that, have you called up all of your clients and have you asked them, what can I do for you? Is there anything I can do for you? What I've done, I've put together stuff that for each and what my clients need. And I've called them and said, is there there anything that I can serve you with at the moment? Make sure you are there, because right now, the people who are going to win are the people who add the most amount of value in this world. And ask yourself, you will be rewarded for the amount of value you put into this world. You are paid according to the size of problems that you can solve. If you solve little problems, you'll be paid a little amount. If you can solve huge problems, you will be paid a huge amount. A lot of these times we've got this kind of, this brick on our shoulder, this stick on our shoulder, that people earn so much. But the reason they earn so much is because they solve massive, massive problems in this world. You will be rewarded for the amount of value you put on this earth, and also by the level of problems you solve. So ask yourself, what am I solving right now? If I'm solving little problems, I will get paid a little amount. And if I'm solving massive problems, and right now, what problems are people having? Find out, go there, serve them, help them. That is how you're going to make the most out of this time. So one of the things which I want to talk about today, which I put on my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube story, was that because it's lockdown at the moment, we're watching quite a few movies at home, and my kids love the movie Aladdin. And I watched it again, and as I was watching Aladdin, there were some really good meanings in there. These Disney films, there's some really, really, really good meanings in there. And so I was watching it. I thought, hold on, there's so much about right now, about Corona time, about the virus, about lockdown, hidden in Aladdin. There were so many takeaways which I got from there. And I said, what if I can come and share those with you? Because I really feel that those are so important to get out. One thing, I was reading something and I came across this article where there was this guy in the US, and I may have shared this before. I can't remember what I've told you because I've spoken so much on here, right? So there was this company, and what he was doing, he was producing protein bars, and all of a sudden he needed 1,000 more employees, and he needed 1,000 more employees within a week because the company was growing so quickly. So what he did is he interviewed 1,000 people, but they had to have systems, right? You've got to have systems in place in your business. Otherwise, you'll get overwhelmed. You need systems. So their system was, each and every one of these 1,000 people, what we are going to do is we're going to ask them the same question to each and every 1,000 person, okay? And the chances are that we'll get loads of different answers, and he had someone to collate the answers, find the best answers, and they're the people who will give the job to, right? 1,000 people, one main question. So the question was, as they came in the room, they said, look, here is a bottle over here. And they showed him a bottle of water. They said, imagine that there was a genie inside this bottle, and you could ask the genie anything. You have one wish. You cannot cure cancer. You cannot ask anyone to come back from the dead. And you cannot ask for more questions. Okay. What would you ask the genie? And you'd expect a different answer from all of these 1,000 people. But 85% of the answers were the same. And do you know what the answers were? That they said that if I could have anything, I would want $1 million. $1 million, right? And this was in LA. So this happened in a company in LA. And the guy who owned this company said, I went away and thought about this, that you can't even buy a flipping house in LA for $1 million. So why would they could ask for anything? They could have asked for a printing machine to make as much money as they wanted to. They could have asked for $1 billion, $100 billion, but they asked for $1 million. Why? Why did they ask? Why didn't they ask for anything more than $1 million? And do you know what the answer was? The answer was that to them, $1 million was everything. To them, $1 million was a lot. And that's what they were governed by. They thought $1 million was a lot. And that's what their whole life was governed by, that if a genie came, they would ask him anything, they would ask for that, even though it wouldn't be able to get them very far. And one of the things I want to talk about today is, how big are your goals? What are your goals right now? What are you trying to get through during these few weeks? So as I watched Aladdin, there were some really, really good things which came out of there. The first thing, and I'm going to keep this one quite short, right? And the first thing is, I remember this sentence where Aladdin is in the desert, okay? The genie's there with him, and the genie goes, let me grant you a wish. And Aladdin goes, make me a prince. And the genie looks, and he said, well, do you want to be more specific? And he goes, no. He goes, make me a prince. And he goes, okay, fine. So what he did is he produced a prince, and there was a prince from the other side of the desert, and he came above. And Aladdin goes to genie, no, I wanted you to make me a prince, not produce a prince. He goes, but then you've got to be more specific. And the point that genie had over there is, you need to be so specific in everything that you want. What I said a few days ago is that whatever you're trying to achieve right now, you need to know exactly where you want to go. So you need to know where you want to go. So you need to know the what, right? The what and the where. Where are you going? You never need to know about the how, because what the how does is the how, if you've never done something before, then the mind's going to say, well, you've never done that before. You've never done that before. No one in your family's made that much money. How will you make it? And the how kills you. So all you need to know about is you just need to know about the what. So when you're goal setting, number one, be totally specific, because the way the mind works is, imagine I told you right now, stand up, and I said, go to that wall on your right side and walk to that wall in a straight line. What you do is you'd stand up and you'd walk to the wall in a straight line. And if I got a chair and I put that in front of you, the chair being an obstacle, a hurdle in life, you would bypass that actual hurdle and you'd still get to the wall, which is fine. But if you said that, if I told you, come and stand over here, and instead what you do, just making sure that the feed is okay. I'm going to put this on. I think we're getting a bit of buffering. That should be a lot better. Just 1 minute. Perfect. Okay. So brilliant. Okay. So we're back. Just had a little bit of a down feed in there. You should be able to hear me a lot better right now. So yeah, so the first one was, the first thing about Aladdin was that when Aladdin was outside on the desert, he said to the genie, make me a prince. And the genie goes to him, do you really mean that? He goes, yeah, I mean, make me a prince. So what the genie did is the genie made a prince. He made another prince and he put him over there. And Aladdin goes, no, why have you made a prince over there? I asked you to make me the prince. And he goes, no, you didn't ask to make you a prince. You said, make me a prince, right? So I made you a prince. I made you another prince. And the point of that being is that whatever you want, make sure that you're totally specific with everything that you want. When I'm working with my clients, sometimes I ask them, what do you want? They said, you know, I want to be able to help people. I go, but you could do anything to help people. Let's be more specific. Imagine right now that you wanted to be, say, for example, you wanted to be a gold medalist. I asked you, what do you want to be in life? You said, I want to be a gold medalist. But that's not enough. So then I'd ask you, do you want to be a gold medalist in the summer games or in the winter games? And then you say, well, do you know, I want to be one in the summer games. Okay, cool. So let's get even deeper than that. What do you want? What sport? Is it swimming? Is it running? What sport is it? And you say it's running. Okay, not deep enough. So you want to achieve a gold medal in running, but there's various categories in running, right? Is it the 100 meters? Is it the 800 meters? Is it the 5K? Is it the 10K? Is it the 100-meter sprint? And you say, well, it's a 100-meter sprint. I go, okay, fine. Now we've got specifics. And because you know that you're the person who wants to be able to get a gold medal in a 100-meter sprint, now you know the skill set that a 100-meter sprinters needs to have. And then you can go back, acquire those skill sets and actually win. Okay, so really make sure that you are so focused, on what you want. Okay, now on that journey, what you'll see is that the goals that you have, and what I was saying before we got cut off, is I said, imagine if I told you right now, stand up in your room and go and walk in a straight line to the wall. You do that. You'd stand up, you'd walk in a straight line to the wall. And if I put a chair in front of you, which is a hurdle, you'd bypass that hurdle and you still get to the wall. But see, that's because you had a specific outcome, a specific goal, right? And the chair represents the hurdles you have in life. But imagine this. Imagine if I just told you, look, stand up, pick any point in this room and walk there in a straight line. Maybe you would start walking to the same place. But then the moment I put that hurdle out, what the mind does is the mind will go to another place. Why? Because the end point wasn't fixed. So the point is, when your end point is fixed, your mind will be focused to go there. But when it's a wishy-washy go, like, I want to help people, I want to make more money. Because the thing is, if you say, I want to make more money, you get £1 and you've made more money. What is the specific amount that you want to achieve in the next 6 months? How many people do you want to serve in the next 6 months? How many people do you want on your course in the next 6 months? What is it that you want to achieve? Exactly. You need specifics. So whenever any of my clients start working with me, we make a list of specific. That's what I'm interested in. I want specific goals and I want these to be massive. Why? Because again, the journey of a goal isn't to hit the goal. It's to always be on that path, but it's the person that you become along the way. And some people say, well, how can I set these big goals? And I'm like, the people you're around will set the tone for what you believe. When Princess Jasmine, by the way, why when we talk about Princess Jasmine, what I'm talking about for those of you who've just joined us is I'm talking about Aladdin, that there's so many messages within the movie of Aladdin which actually resonate with what we're going through right now. So I wanted to share some of those with you. So when Princess Jasmine is in that castle, all she can see is the city, how she's always seen it, because she's basically been a prisoner in that castle. And so that's what she can see. When she went up on the carpet with Aladdin on the flying carpet, she saw the city in a different light. And my point is that when you have a different view, when you're a different vantage point, like things change. So the people who are going to lift you up, so you need to be around people who are looking at life in a much bigger way. And when you're around those kind of people, what tends to happen is that you start seeing your goals start changing. I told you last week about the story when I started working with my $1 million coach. And when he told me to come to France with him, what I didn't tell you is as I entered that room, what happened is I was around loads of other people. And I'd obviously paid a lot to be there. And there was this 20-year-old guy. He was 22. His name was John. He might be on here right now, John. If you are, please message, right? And he was 22 years old. And I'm like, Jordan, how did you afford to be here? Like, because you're only 22. And he goes to me, Mahmood, do you know what? I sold my highest priced coaching package last week. I'm like, what do you mean? I go, how much did you sell it for? Like, 2, 3, 5, 10K? Because no, I sold it for 120 grand. Like, seriously, you sold one coaching package for 120 grand. How did you do it? He goes, I'll tell you, it was simple. He goes, I went to a meeting, and in this meeting, there was someone who was there from Amazon, someone who sells on Amazon, a drop shipper, and he was showing us his program on how he makes $5,000 a day, how he makes 5,000 euros a day on drop shipping. And he was selling his program for $500, 500 euros. And I thought, hold on, this guy who makes 5,000 euros a day is selling his course for 500 euros. That doesn't make sense. So I went to him and I said, do you know what? Your program, which you're making $5,000 a day, which you're selling for 500 euros, what if I could teach you how to sell it for 5,000 euros? Because you're selling it for 500 euros. What if I could teach you how to sell it for 5,000 euros? The guy goes, that would be brilliant. He goes, well, that's exactly what my program does. And the guy goes to him, how much do you charge? And John said, no one had ever asked me that before. So I just said 120 grand. And the guy said, I'm in. And he goes, that was it. And I go, how often does he speak to you? He says he hardly calls me. I just tell him what to do. I told him how to package it. I told him the skill set of selling and how he's doing it. And I'm like, wow. So I walked into this room, right? So then I walk in this room and I'm feeling pumped because I'm around all these other people, millionaires, billionaires who are making so much. So has it ever happened to you that when you're around other people, you start raising your game as well? When you're around other people who are doing much better than you, then you start raising your game. So I'd raise my game. So I went down and I sat with my coaches, and then my coaches said to me, well, Mahmood, why are you here? And I said, look, the reason I'm here is because at the moment I'm selling coaching programs, but I'm not selling them for very much. And they're one-on-one, and I'm not making much out of it. So I want to be able to do what I really want to do. And they said, what do you want to do? And I said, you know what? My passion is to speak. I know I can create great, great, great speakers, and I want to be able to do that. And they said, well, what gift have you got in speaking? And I said, well, do you know what? In the last 11 months, I've made sales of 2 million. And so I know I can teach people how to close very, very well. They go, then do that. They go, why don't you design a course where people will come and see you and you can train them on how to speak and how to sell and how to grow? And I said, okay, cool, I can do that. And they go, well, how many people can you do together? And I said, well, I'll have 10 people in a room. They said, okay, cool. And they go, how much do you want to charge per person? And normally in a normal day, I would have said like 2, 3, 4, 500 pounds. But this time I was playing this massive game, right? Because I had all these other people around me playing this huge game. I said, you know, I'm going to sell it for 10,000 pounds. That's how much my program's going to cost. I'm going to have 10 people in a room, 10,000 pounds each. And I want 10 people in a room, and that's how much it's going to be. And they go, fine. And do you know what happened? 2 people in the room put their hand up and said, Mahmood, we're in. And I'm like, wow, seriously? Like, I haven't even designed it yet, but they say, yeah, we love the way you speak. We want you to teach us how to do that. If you can teach us how to sell the way you do, we'll make 10 times our return very quickly. And I'm like, wow. And normally when I would have been happy with like $500, $1,000 a day, £1,000 a day, now like I just sold 2 seats for 20,000 a day, right? For 20,000 over 2 days. And I was like, wow, how did this happen? Right? But the only way that happened is because, number one, I started getting out of my comfort zone. I started hanging around other people who are doing so much better than me. Just like when Princess Jasmine sat on that carpet and she saw the city from a different vantage point, I started seeing my life from a different vantage point because I was around people who are playing a much bigger game than me. My question to you is, who's in your circle right now? I said last week, get a list of your 10 closest friends and mark them between 1 and 4. 1 is people who are going to lift you, people who are going to push you, people who are really, really going to raise your game. Right? That's number 1. Put a number 2 next to people who bring you down, who are negative, who aren't helping you in life. Put a number 3 next to people who are always telling you, you're doing enough and you're doing too much and slow down. And put a number 4 next to people who just don't fit into any of these. And then what you do is you get rid of number 2, 3, and 4. Either you get rid of them completely from your life. If they're your family, it's difficult. So if they're your family, what you do is you just learn to ignore them sometimes, okay? But you keep number ones, and you want the least amount of twos and threes in your life, two, threes, and fours, okay? And when you start doing that, you start playing this massive, massive, massive game. So when you start hanging around people who are so much more successful than you, who are doing so much better than you, then your thermostat in life gets reset. Just like in winter at home, when you turn up your thermostat at home, the whole house will heat up to one temperature, right? Same as your life. You need to up your game, be around people who are going to grow you, find people, be around them, and make sure that you live that game at the highest level you can, right? So that was my first takeaway from there. My second one was that your inside world, that what happens on the inside will dictate what happens in your outside world, right? There's this point when the genie transforms Aladdin into this prince. And he tells Aladdin a simple thing. He goes, look, I've made you a prince on the outside, but I can't change you on the inside. So no matter what you do, what you've got on the inside is always going to shine. And all I've been able to do is I've been able to change your outside. And for me, that is so important. Why? Because we always say that when I get this, or when I get this, or when I get this, or when I get this, that's when I'm going to be happy. So I'll get happy when I start making, maybe £10,000 a month, or I'll start being happy when when my wife doesn't argue with me. I'll start being happy. I will. But the thing is, that is never going to come into your life if you don't believe it's there already. So what you need to do is you need to live that life before it happens. You see, because what money and power does is money and power doesn't make you a better person. It exposes you. So if you're a bad person, it exposes you more. If you're a good person, it'll expose you more. So more money and more fame, all it's going to do, it's just going to expose you. And right now, do you know the fronters out there? The Lambos, the cars, the watches, Instagram is full of them, right? And what it is that, like right now, because the doors are closed, these people have gone away. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that all of these fronters right now have kind of gone off Instagram? And you're thinking, why? It's because you know what? They can't go out and rent a Lambo for a day and take that selfie with the Lambo. They can't have all that money and just take a photo with it and then give it back. Those things can't happen anymore because we're in lockdown. Have you noticed that? So my point is that the fronters will always front. But inside of you is what actually counts. And what's inside of you is going to come out. So the way that you become a new person on the outside is to actually become a new person on the inside. So what the genie said to Aladdin was so powerful, right? That's massive, because I always see that the way you are inside is what's going to show up on the outside, right? So there's two parts of our brain. We've got the conscious part and we've got the subconscious part of our brain, okay? Two parts. Now, I've gone through last week how to change the subconscious part of our mind, right? How to reprogram the mind. But the conscious part of our mind is 5% of our mind, right? So we normally think probably 5% because the other 95% is played on autopilot. And how do you control the conscious part of your mind? Because remember that story I gave you about Nike last week? That two guys, Nike had two salesmen, top salesman and lower salesman. They turned up to the desert. Nike said, scout the Sahara Desert. Tell me how sales are going to be there. And the average salesman said, you know what? No one's wearing shoes here. It doesn't look good. I'm coming home. But the top salesman looked at it and said, wow, no one's wearing shoes here. We can put shoes on everyone, right? Why was he looking at life through a different lens? There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, and it's at the bottom of your brainstem. And what the reticular activating system does is that is like Google. So if you go into Google, there are trillions of websites out there. So if you want one on, say, for example, you said how to make money, right? So you type in how to make money, and all those websites which are about how to make money will come up. So your mind is exactly like that, right? So your mind is all like that. Okay, so the RAS is like that. So what you're thinking is what you're going to see more of, because you have about 8 million thoughts every single second, 8 million thoughts, but none of them can get into your brain. What happens is the RAS is the entrance point to your brain. And the way the RAS allows certain thoughts through, it's how are you feeling? What are you thinking about the most? So if you're in a crappy mood, crappy thoughts will come to your brain. If you're stressed out, stressful thoughts will come to your brain. If you're in an empowering mood, if you're really feeling empowered, you're feeling pumped, then what will happen is those thoughts will come through your head. So what you realize is on a good day, good things will happen. On a bad day, bad things will happen. So if you wake up in the morning and you bang your head on the desk and you think, it's going to be a horrible day, chances are it is going to be a horrible day. But if you wake up in the morning and you've done exactly what I've told you to do last week, right? Wake up, pumped. Remember we said your state is governed by three things. What you focus on, that am I focusing on something I can change and something which is going right for me? Or am I focusing on something that can't change and something that's going wrong for me? Right? Where is your focus in life? What is the language I'm speaking to myself in, right? Am I telling myself I can do it, I'm brilliant, I'm great? Or am I telling myself it's not going to work out for me? These things always happen to me and I'm dealt a bad pack of cards, all of these kind of things. What language you're speaking to yourself in? And then also your physiology. How do you stand? How do you walk? What would a billionaire walk like? And that's my thing, that you have to be in that position. You have to control your state. When you control your state, then what you find is you grow like crazy. Okay, so be so cognizant of the thoughts which go in your mind. Always think about what you think about. And do you know what? The things so the more money you get, as I said, the more you'll be exposed. So if you're a giver, that giving side of you will come out. If you're a bad person, that bad side of you will come out, right? So, look at some of the greats right now, people like Bill Gates, people like Warren Buffett, people like Zucks. What they've done is they're part of the giving pledge, right? Where they've said 99% of their wealth they're going to give away. So for them, they're not after the money, they're after value, they're after service. And they know the more money they have, it's a responsibility on them and they have to give it, right? So a lot of us right now, when my father was alive, Dad always used to tell me, Mahmood, don't chase the money, don't chase the money. And I was like, I don't know what you mean by that. But at that point, I was chasing. And what I found that what you chase the most will run away from you the fastest. Okay, whatever in life, whether it's a friend or whether it's in a relationship or whether it's money or whatever, that what you chase the most in life will run away from you. Okay, do not chase money, chase service, chase value. Okay, give people value, give people service. From there, you will have the most amount of money that you will ever thought you can. And again, what I've always said is now is the time. Okay, so the next thing for me in Aladdin, which was really, really important, that there's one quote which is said in there, and Aladdin says that when you don't have anything, act like you've got everything. Okay, and when that happened, I was thinking, like, what does that mean, right? When you don't have anything, act like you have everything. And for me, this was all about the power of the mind. That I've always said about the belief cycle, right? You've heard my story about the 4-minute mile. Before 1954, no one could run a mile in less than 4 minutes. And the doctor said it was impossible and you die. And one guy called Roger Bannister believed that if he believes it in his head, then like they say that if you can, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So he believed in his mind and he ran the 4-minute mile in his head and he knew he could do it because he'd already run it in his mind. He came out on track and he did it, in 1954. 1 second less than 4 minutes. And since then, loads of people do it, right? 46 days after he done it, someone did it. But the question is why? It's because all of a sudden now someone did something which everyone thought was impossible. And in our lives, everyone's telling us sometimes things are impossible. And you need to not listen to those people, but only when that you need to understand the impossible is only impossible for them and it's not impossible for you. So I always say there's this belief cycle, which I said last time, that here you've got human potential, which is unlimited. Over here, you've got action, the action you need to take in life. Over here, you've got results. And over here, you've got your belief. And what that is if your belief is that I can't make money right now, for example, in lockdown, that people aren't going to pay me. Now, why is it that I'm running courses right now and people are paying me right now? Why? Okay, simple belief, right? That I believe at this kind of time, I've got something where I know I can serve the world so much, that I know that I can teach you so much right now to be able to grow your business, just grow you. Right? I can build your business for you right now. I can teach you the things which you've always wanted. And I'm so confident of that I can go out there. And that's why even right now I am, business is going really well, but it's because of that belief, right? I always say that it's not about what you know, it's about who you are. And when you understand who you are and you have that sole belief in yourself, things change. So if you have that belief in yourself right now, that I can't make money right now, what happens? When you believe you can't make enough money right now, how much potential do you tap into, big or small? Tap into a small amount of potential, right? A small amount of potential you'll tap into saying that I can't make money. When you tap into a small amount of potential, what happens to your results? what happens to your action? You take a small amount of action. You may be waking up late. You may be, not feeling too good. You may be a bit depressed. You may be picking up the phone and telling people, I can't do this. Remember what I said last week, right? When you speak something out loudly, negatively, it's 70 times more likely to happen in your life. And so when you do that, what happens to your results? You get very poor results. And then your belief is, well, you can't make money in this time. Imagine if you change your belief, right? Imagine if your belief today was that I can make so much money during this time because I know that I can go out and serve people. Even if it's not money, I know that I can grow the business. I can develop my ecosystem. I can get so many more leads into my business right now. Right now, it's the cheapest time to acquire any leads. Facebook ads, half the price. Instagram ads, half the price. Everything is just down, down, down. Isn't this the best time to market when most people aren't marketing? This is the time when you should be ramping up your market. By the time you finish these 3-4 weeks, so many more people around the world should know about you. Okay, so don't take money out of marketing. This is the time when you need to go in the most. Okay, so when you have that belief that I've got something to give, something to serve, something to really help the world with right now, what potential do you tap into? You start tapping into a huge amount of potential, right? When you tap into a huge amount of potential, what action do you start taking? You start taking massive action. Yeah, you may start waking up at 5:30 a.m. You may start reading those books, listening to those videos, getting a mentor, getting a coach, investing in yourself. And then once you do that, what kind of results do you get? You get massive results. And when you get massive results, what happens to your belief? It's like, yeah, I can do this. So my point is that this is what it's about, right? That it is so important where you can actually have that belief. And that thing about fake it till you make it? I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I believe in faith it till you make it, right? Have the faith in yourself that you can do it. But there's two points to that. That number one, if you're faking it or faithing it till you make it, because having that faith or faking it allows you to overcome your own insecurities and allows you to believe you're that person, great, do that all the time. But if you're trying to faith it till you make it or fake it till you make it to hide a bad part of your character, then that's not going to work. So the journey that you have to do is understand, why are you faithing it or faking it till you make it? Is it because that you have some insecurities in you right now which you need to get past? And if you do, great, keep doing that. But if it's because you've got a character fault, that you've got a trait that was not good in you, then that's something which you need to change. Okay, that is so important. That use this to get out of your own insecurities, but don't use it because otherwise it's just not going to work. The other thing with this is, as I'm thinking about this, that make sure that you have people on this journey right now to keep you accountable. When Aladdin went into that cave, Aladdin was told that your eyes will go crazy over the amount of gold, over the amount of riches which are in that cave. But he said, don't pick anything up. The only thing you can pick up is that lamp, right? So you're going to see money, you're going to see diamonds, you're going to see gold. Don't touch that. And Aladdin was told specifically, do not pick up anything apart from that lamp. You will be tested, right? And in your lives right now, as you're growing, as you're doing more, becoming more, you'll be tested with lots of great things, right? Things which are going to harm you, right? So he had someone in there, he had his monkey, right? And his monkey was a magical monkey, right? So he really looked after him. But the moment Aladdin went to pick up those diamonds and those jewels, the monkey said no, right? The monkey told him don't. And that fixed Aladdin's mind onto just getting the lamp. And that's what Aladdin went and got. My point in this is that right now that you need to make sure that you have people in your life who are going to hold you accountable. Have a group of friends every day who can hold you accountable. Did you wake up at 4:30? Did you wake up at 5 a.m.? Did you read that book? Have you got healthier? And these friends, what a real friend is someone that to your face, he doesn't hold back. But in front of others, he speaks the nicest about you, right? That's what a true friend is. So for me, I want someone to tell me, Mahmoud, you've done crap. You really haven't done well. You said you're going to do this. You have done it. I don't want my friends to make me feel good. I want my friends to make me feel great. And a best friend, a real good friend, is someone who can really, really hold you accountable. Who can hold you accountable? Two types of people: really good friends and coaches and mentors. Sometimes for friends, it's hard for them to have that leverage on you because they're friends. So I always say, at this kind of time in life, make sure you have mentors with you, because if not, it is going to be so difficult for you to hold yourself accountable, because you can't hold yourself accountable, because you can't see what you can't see, because when you're in the box, you can't see the label. When you're in the forest, all you can see is the trees. So you need to make sure that you have someone with you who is gonna hold you accountable, someone who's gonna push you, and someone who's really, really, really gonna raise your game. Okay, so that is the next thing about the movie Aladdin, where make sure that there's accountability, right? And also make sure that if you don't have anything, you got to act like you have everything, but make sure that's not covering up a character trait, a character fault, but what it's actually doing is it's actually helping you overcome an insecurity. The next thing is, right, Aladdin's going to grab some water. The next thing is Aladdin says to the princess that sometimes in life, you've got to take a risk. And then she does. She gets on the carpet and they take that risk and then they go. Okay. And right now, if you want to grow, right, I've always said energy level between 1 and 10. 1 is here, 10 is here. Everything which you want lives here, but this is well outside of your comfort zone. Here, you got to take risks. Life over here is simple. Average life, you want to have an average life. You want to be like the sheep I spoke about last week. You live here. If you want more, to become more, do more, serve more, have the amount of wealth you've always dreamed of, to serve the amount of people you've always wanted to serve, that lives over here. But that means that you need to take massive, massive risk in your life, right? Accountable risk, right? Risk which isn't going to wipe you out, but every day you need to make sure that you are taking risk. I remember, when I was standing on the cliff of life, right? I wanted to leave my practice. I wanted to leave being a dentist. I wanted to jump into this. And I had my parachute on my back, okay, metaphorically, and I had to jump off the cliff. And I'm like scared to jump off the cliff because I'm like, well, I want my parachute to open first before I jump. And God's saying, well, parachute doesn't open until you jump. And that whole story is going on in my head. But I had to jump off that cliff, right? I had to cut the ties being a dentist before I could make this work, because I was split testing my life. I was doing dentistry for 3 days and I was doing the great life for the other 4 days. And I was like, I needed to let go of this, but this was providing all the income. But only when I let go of this could I allow this to grow. So again, in your life, see how many risks are you taking right now? What are you doing? And make sure that you do take these risks. I remember this great story about this mountain, right? That for some of you who climb mountains, that on the mountain, halfway up the mountain, there's, oh, by the way, if I'm not looking at you all the time, it's because I've got an Instagram feed here, there's a YouTube feed here, and there's a Facebook feed here, right? So just feel free to come on the Instagram feed, because if there's anything you want to ask, you can just jump on split screen here, and I can actually speak to you, and everyone can see you as well. It'll be absolutely amazing. So feel free to jump on there. Right, so on any mountain you go, halfway up the mountain, there's something called a halfway house. And what this halfway house is that once you've climbed half the mountain, you go in there, you sit down, you have a cup of tea, there's a fire there, and you're tired. So you sit down and you just, recuperate. And so you go in there, you're there for about 2 hours, and the guide says, okay, come on, let's go. We've now got to get to the summit. And you say, you know what? I've already climbed half, right? Climbed half. And I'm tired and I'm hungry, and it's cool, right? You guys go ahead. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to stay warm and I'm going to eat here. And then when you come down tomorrow, I'll come down with you, because I've climbed half the mountain, and climbing half the mountain is a great thing. Remember what I said last week, steps of a growth mindset. That is a fixed mindset, because when you think that you've done enough, that is the fixed mindset. So you sit in there and you say, do you know, I've climbed enough. I don't need to climb anymore. The guide doesn't push you anymore, because the guide's not there to push you. The guide's just there to serve you, right? So the guide goes to you, okay, fine. And so then he comes back and he pulls the rest of the team up, and then they start climbing. And then what happens is, a few hours later at sunset, you look up there, you look at the top of the mountain, and you see all of your friends. They've got their tents up, they're high-fiving each other, they're fist pumping each other. And you're thinking, man, I stayed here, right? What if I just gone? Anyway, but then you don't think too much of it. And then the next day comes, you wake up in the morning, lunchtime comes, and all of these people come in there, and they're happy, and they're fist pumping, and they're so happy because they got to the summit. And you're sitting there over lunch, and you've got your mouth closed because you've got nothing to talk about, because you didn't do it. And you've got this little thing in you, right, in your heart, that you're feeling, oh man, a bit of regret. So you go all the way down the mountain, and your family and friends are there, and your family puts you in the car, and then you start driving home, and you're really, really quiet. And your spouse goes to your kids, go to you, Dad, what's up with Dad and Mom? Why are you so quiet? And you don't say anything. And they go, aren't you happy, right? Because you climbed to the top of the mountain, and you still sit there. And a little thing goes on inside of you, right? And you think that, what if, right? What if I'd climbed the mountain? That, the problem is that you realize on that point that you chose comfort over growth, right? You chose comfort over growth. And in our life, so many times we are choosing comfort over growth. Ask yourself right now, are you comfortable? Are you comfortable? Do not ever be comfortable. Some people tell me, do you remember, we've got to be grateful. Be grateful, but never be content. Because the moment you're content, do you know what happens? You stop growing. Because when you're content with the life you have, you don't grow. So I'm always be grateful. I'm so grateful for the life I have. I'm grateful for my family, for my wife, for my kids, for the oxygen, for the computers I have, for the fact that you're watching me right now. I'm grateful, but I'm not content. I'll never be content. And the thing is that I really feel that potential is unlimited, as you know it is. And the way you live your potential, you'll never live it. But if you keep on growing every day, every day, every day, the day you die, that's the day you'll hit your potential, because you'll never hit it. Because there's two types of game in life, right? You've got the finite game and you've got the infinite game. The finite game is like a game of football where there's a set rules, okay, and there can only be one thing, a winner or loser, that's it. But then there's an infinite game, and the infinite game is defined by a game where there's no winners, there's no losers. It's infinite, so it keeps going, and the longer you play, the stronger you become, right? So what are examples of the infinite game? An example of the infinite game is business, right? You can never be the best at business, but every day you can get better, you can get better, you can get better. Leadership, you can never be the best leader, but the leader is an infinite game that every day you become better, you become better, you become better. That is the infinite game. The infinite game isn't a game which stops. And it's just like, being a good spouse. You can never be the best spouse. You can never be the best husband or the best wife. Every day you just get better. You can never be the best dad, right? Right now, and the longer these games play, the stronger they become. Look at right now during Corona time, how many companies are going to go down? How many companies are going to be wiped out? Right? Why? Because they're not playing the infinite game. They've put profit over staff. They've played a game right now where they've taken out so much from the ecosystem that there's nothing left right now. At a time they've bled the company dry, that there's no money to keep it going. And at a time like this is when you find out who are the finite players and who are the infinite players. The infinite players will always win. Now, the infinite players will come out of these 3 weeks, these 3 months, these however long it takes, and they will survive. Not just will they survive, but they will thrive. It's same as in your family life, right? Your savings, how much you're spending. Do you have that? Do you know exactly how much you're spending every day? Like, because right now, if you've got 100 grand, 200 grand, 50 grand, 30 grand put aside, you're going to be okay. You're not going to wake up stressing out every single morning. You won't need to rely on the government for furloughing and things like that, right? So are you playing the finite game? Because the finite game is that all the money you get in your house every single month, you take it out and you spend it because you got the bigger house. And what most people do is, as they earn more, their lifestyle goes up, right? That your lifestyle matches the amount you're earning. No, I always say that make sure you got 6 months of money stashed aside. You have to look at a time like this. You need it. The people who have 3 months, 6 months, 10 months worth of money, they can sleep easy at night right now because they know that they can ride out this wave. Not just can they ride out this wave, but when you know you've got that much money aside so you can thrive during this time, your mindset's different, right? And you're not coming from a place of lack, but you're coming from a place of growth. And when you're in a place of growth, then what you can do is you can have better ideas. You can think of how to serve people more, the community more, kids more, people more, and that's how you grow. So even if you haven't, what I want you to do is when this whole thing opens up again, make sure one of the first things I told my clients is make sure you have 6 months to a year's worth of money put aside. So no matter what happens, right? And at times like this is when you should be building up wealth, right? When people think it's not possible, right? Everyone who I'm working with right now, you can build up wealth right now. You can, right? So do not in your life choose comfort over growth. Okay, do not choose comfort over growth. So that is the next point of Aladdin. Oh, wow, I've gone on for 45 minutes. Okay, anyway, last one with Aladdin is in life that we always wish that we have more. Let me tell you what I mean by this. That at the opening scene of Aladdin, when the kids are sitting there and they've got a small boat, and this really big vessel comes past them, and they say, do you know what? We wish we had a large boat like that. And Will Smith, who's their dad on the boat, he says, you know what? It's not about how much you have. It's about what you do with it. And for me, that was really powerful because a lot of our lives and a lot of people I meet, it's just about wanting more and wanting more and wanting more. See, it's not a problem to want more. But if that's your biggest driver in life, if money and power is your biggest driver, you'll never make it. What about so most people, happiness is wrapped around power and money, right? So the more power you have, the more money you have, the happier you think you'll be. But the problem is that there's not enough money and power in the world to ever make you happy. Because the moment you get there, you will want more, you'll want more. So if happiness is tied up around money and power, it's going to be a problem. My point is, what if happiness, and the question is, what is happiness, right? And I always say definition of happiness is what you think about yourself when you're by yourself, okay? What you think about yourself when you're by yourself, for me, is the definition of happiness. So what thoughts do you have about yourself when you're by yourself? So what else can you wrap happiness around? That what if happiness isn't about, so there's nothing wrong in having a fast car and a big house. No, there's no problem in having a Lambo, right? And attachment isn't when you have a Lambo, but attachment is when the Lambo owns you, right? Not when you own the Lambo, when the Lambo owns you. That is the problem. Attachment isn't when you have a lot of money. It's not when you own a lot of money. It's when a lot of money owns you, right? Biggest thing about attachment, right? It's when that thing owns you. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong, and I'm saying go. You only live once, right? And for some of you, if you think you're coming back, you may be a tree, so you can't do anything with that, right? So if you got one life, go get it. I love fast cars, right? I love all of that. Okay, so make sure that you are getting these things because it's part of life, but don't hoard these things, right? Make sure that you're giving. I always say give 10 times more than you ever want back in return, right? So if you're going to have a Lambo for 100 grand, make sure that you've given $1 million first before you get that 100. Okay, so always make sure that you're giving more than you want to keep for yourself, number one. And number two, that what if our happiness then, rather than being wrapped up in power, rather than being wrapped up in money, what if our happiness can be wrapped up around learning? What if it can be wrapped up about becoming better? What if it can be wrapped up around serving people? You see, because when your happiness is wrapped up around being a learner, as I said last time, right? Being a learner is anti-fragile. And what fragile is when something like, if I had this and I dropped it and it broke, that's fragile, like this glass of water here. If I drop this, it'll fall and it'll break. Okay? The glass is fragile. But what anti-fragile is the more you hit something, the more you drop it, the stronger it becomes. Question is, what can be anti-fragile? The only one thing in life that's really anti-fragile is when you wrap yourself around being a learner. When you realize that when I'm a learner, you can beat me as hard as you want, but all I come out is stronger. Because again, I said that if this message here I gave you was crap, and you told me, Mahmoud, is crap, if my happiness is wrapped around being a learner, I'm not going to insult you. I'm going to say, cool, man, thank you. Thanks for feeding that back to me. Tell me one thing, right? How could I make it better? But if my happiness was wrapped around me being right, me being good, and me being smart, what would I do? I'd say, look, you get lost. It's nothing to do with you, right? You're not the right person for this and all of that. I would get my back up against the wall. But if I'm going to be a learner, and if my happiness is going to be wrapped up around growing, if it's going to be wrapped up about serving, right? Then everything changes, right? About learning. So take this away from this. It is so important, right? That it's not the big boat. They're not the things we should be after, because you get that boat. Bill Gates has got a bigger boat, right? And someone else has got a bigger boat, and then Abramovich has got a bigger boat, and then Zucks has got a bigger boat than that. Someone's always going to be better than you, right? Someone's always going to be smarter than you. Someone's always going to be more good looking than you. You will never, you'll always have someone, right? So if you're waiting to be that perfect, the best at everything, you won't. But the journey is to become the best, right? That's the journey. That journey is going to grow you. And every day, as you grow, that person that you become is a person that you need to become with the journey right now. And if you do that every single day, if you take these 5 points, okay, from the Aladdin movie and you put it into your life, I promise you're going to have the most stunning life, the most brilliant life you ever have. It's not going to be an easy life, right? I told you, right? This morning I was awake till 4 a.m., back up at 8:30. Again, same tonight and same tomorrow. Why? Because yesterday I was driving with my wife, and I told my wife, do you know what, for me, these 3 weeks, do you know what it's like? It's like the rest of the world is sleeping. For these 3 weeks, 3 months, lockdown, the world is sleeping. I want to be awake. I want to be working while everyone's sleeping. I want to make sure that I get everything done, right? Because this is my chance to get ahead. This is your chance to get ahead. While the rest of the world is sitting there, while they're sleeping, you make sure that you get ahead. Do not sit at home watching TV, eating crisps, feeling sorry for yourself. This is the time when the rest of the world is sleeping. You get out there, right? You do everything that you wanted to do. What did I do? I built up that course. I've got the course starting on Monday, another course starting last week, right? I'm hustling hard. And for those of you who know me, for those of you who are on this feed, who because I coach you, that I always say, never do what I say, but do what I do. If I'm going to, I'll tell you everything which I do, and I want you to do that as well, because if you do that right now, I promise you that you will, it's these steps which will make you successful, and just keep on going, right? Every single day. So thank you so much for listening, right? So just to let you know again, for those messages, yes, so the course I spoke about last week, thank you so much for everyone who messaged me. I opened up 2 groups because there were a lot of people interested. So if you'd like to be on there, it starts on Monday. It's about growing your business, making money this kind of time, finding your gift, finding your passion, self-development, business building. Okay, it's called Business Mindset Momentum. If you'd like to be part of it, it starts on Monday. It's live with me for 3 full months. I've got a great offer for you because it is lockdown time. Message me. And Yeah, I've got about three, maybe 4 spaces left. That's it. If you'd like it, just message me. And if not, that's cool as well. But I'll be back next week. If there's anyone who has any questions, put it on here and let me answer you right now. So I have got quite a few messages. I woke up this amazing speech. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Zaina. Really appreciate it. What else? There was something on Facebook here. I'll try and answer all of your questions. If someone wants to jump in on Instagram, please feel free to. More than happy. Okay. Neelam says Michael Jordan would record all of his games, but not only where he scored, but where he failed, right? I love that. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I told you this story about Kobe last week, right? That now that Kobe's died, right? So much has come out about him, how great he was, how brilliant he was. And I remember this story about Kobe, that when I was speaking in LA last year, I met someone who was good friends with Jay Williams. Jay Williams used to play for the Chicago Bulls. And this was the time at the LA Lakers when the Kobe Shaq's duo was on. And then what happened is the Chicago Bulls were going to play the Lakers. They went there and Jay Williams turns up to the gym, right? And Jay Williams normally gets there 3-4 hours earlier because he wants to work out 600 free throws. He always wants to be doing the most out of everyone. So he turns up there and he sees Kobe. And Kobe's like proper in a sweat, right? Kobe's already been working for hours. And Jay's thinking like, wow, man, I've never seen anyone like this. Then what happens is he leaves the gym and Kobe's still working out. The evening comes and the Lakers wipe out the Bulls. And Williams goes then to Kobe and he goes to Kobe that, why were you working so hard? And the answer Kobe gave was phenomenal. That Kobe said to him that when I saw you coming, I wanted to show you that I'll always work harder than you, that no matter what you do, I will always be one step ahead of you. And I love that, right? Because what is that? It's like how we inspire each other, right? How we push each other, how we get the most out of each other. And that's what this is about, right? Make sure the people around you are growing you. Make sure that you've got friends around you, mentors, coaches who are really pushing you up, because that's how this is going to happen, right? So let me check anything else. Facebook feed, any more questions? Yep, one here. Anything on YouTube? What books do you recommend for growth mindset? For growth mindset, I have got a 5-hour audio program, which I am more than happy to give to you. Don't buy it from me. Don't go to my website and buy it. I'll give it to you as a gift if you're listening right now. Just message me somehow, right? Send me a PM on a DM on Facebook. Message me on Instagram, whatever. I'll send you a link and you can get the full 5 hours. My gift to you. Go for it. And it teaches you so much there about a growth mindset. I've in my business mindset course, I spend 1 full month going through with you, coaching you on how to actually build the 15 steps on how to build a proper growth mindset. And I take you through them and I make sure that you're doing, and I handhold you through there. Again, if you want to be part of this, thanks for asking, just message me. And there's about 3-4 spaces left for the Monday. And then that's it. Doors are closed. If you want that, let me know. It's a super offer. Never done anything like this before because we've never had lockdown before. And I just want to be able to serve you as much as I can. And this is live with me. You have me with you for 3 full months. The idea is, I want to be able to make you more money, grow your business, grow your mindset. So by the time you finish this time, you've got the most amazing mindset. Last week, I did a kids workshop for mindset. And I'm launching a kids mindset course as well, right, where I want to, work with kids on Zoom to be able to build their mindset. Right now, my thing is, what can I do to serve the people who are with me the most? I want to serve you. I want to serve your kids. I want to serve the people around you. Okay, look out. Who can you serve? What can you do for people? Go out there, right? This world is all about service, all about service. So, anything else? I'm just going to go through here, and there's one here. Even if your job is pushing you so much that we're risking our lives every day. I guess, that's a great question. Like, what if our jobs are pushing us so much? And I guess that may be relevant for, a frontline worker right now, right? Who is on the front line with virus patients, that should you push all the time? That's a decision you need to make, right? That whether you want to be on the front line or not. So I know some people right now, even though they don't need to be on the front line, they're going on the front line because inside of them, they want to do that. That's cool. Right, and there are other people who don't. So totally up to you. But the point I'm trying to make about living in that fear zone, that I want you to wake up every single day and be scared. I don't mean scared about dying from a virus. What I mean by being scared is I want you to be able to be scared to fail, right? That I want to be so scared of failing every day. But what does that mean to me? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm pushing myself so far that if I'm not scared to fail, I'm in my comfort zone. But if I'm pushing myself so far that I'm scared to fail, what it means is that I've set such big goals for myself that what if I don't hit it? What if it doesn't work? What if people don't buy into my program? What if this? That's cool, man. I'd rather go through that because it shows I'm growing. And I want to fail because I know that the more I fail, the quicker I grow. That I always say that, what if God or the world said that after 10 failures, you're going to have your 11th success? That's going to be the success. Just like J.K. Rowling, like Steve Jobs, all the greats, they all had massive failures. We never see that. But again, I said last time, have your why. Know why you're doing it. So those failures don't matter anymore because you just want to do. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk's why. Oh, I got this great story, right? I don't care if I go on a bit. Okay, it's my channel. Let me tell you. Great story. Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, 1990 Olympic Games, about why you should have your why, right? Brilliant story. Okay, so 1990 Olympic Games in China, Japan. Can't remember where it was. And Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion. No one could ever beat him, and everyone knew that he couldn't be beaten. So Buster Douglas got in the ring, and Mike Tyson knocked Buster Douglas out. Buster Douglas went down, he got up, and in the end, Buster Douglas got Mike Tyson up against the ropes, right? And my question is, sometimes life may have you up against the ropes, and what do you do about that, right? But what Buster Douglas did and Tyson did is they fought, and in the end, Buster Douglas actually knocked Mike Tyson out. Right. And everyone went crazy, right? The world went crazy. Oh, this has never happened before. And how does this happen? And how did you knock Mike Tyson out? And then back in the conference room, the press conference room, they asked Buster Douglas, what is it? How did you knock Mike Tyson out? Heavyweight champion of the world. No one's ever done it. How did you do it? Buster Douglas's reply, best reply ever. He said, my mom had told everyone that I was going to beat Mike Tyson. He goes, 2 days before this fight, my mom died. And I had two options. My dream could either die with my mom or I could live my mom. And that's what he went out and did, right? His why was massive. And that's why when the going got tough, when Mike had him against the ropes, the guy fought back. Buster Douglas won. Look at Elon Musk, right? 2 rockets of his blew up. But why does he keep on going? Because his goal isn't to make more money. It's to create a city on Mars. So if this world, we can't live in here anymore because of a nuclear disaster, because of a virus which takes over the world, we've got another planet we can go and live on. And when you've got a goal which is so big, which is serving so many people, do you think one bad day is going to knock you down? Really? Because right now, if all your goal is I want to make more money, I want to have a better house, a better car, then on the days when things get tough, you sit back, you think, I can't do this, it's too tough. But when your goal is massive, when your goal is about serving others, serving your community, serving the world, serving other people, you'll never give up, right? So again, make sure that your why is huge. What else? Any other questions over here? Thank you so much for the kind comments, everyone. Really, really appreciate it. Cool. Okay, so right, so anyone here and anyone? Okay, fine, that's cool. So I have gone on way longer than I was meant to go, but I just really enjoy being here. I'm fired up when I'm talking to you. I want to give you my all. I'll be back next week. I want you to have the most amazing weekend, right? Wake up every single morning. Just ask yourself today, who can I serve? And I always say every day, ask yourself 2 questions every single day, right? Just before I finish. Number 1, ask yourself that, am I a better person today than I was yesterday? Ask yourself that, right? Am I a better person today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is no, okay, big problem, fix it. And the second question you ask yourself is, how can I be better tomorrow than I am today, right? Let those 2 questions drive your life every day. And I'm not talking about money, right? I'm talking about service, value. How much value can you put on this earth? That are you a better person today than you were yesterday? And how are you going to be a better person tomorrow than you are today? Let those 2 questions, let those embody you. Let those 2 questions be plastered on your wall every single day when you wake up in the morning. Ask yourself, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? Right? And how am I going to be better tomorrow than I am today? And let those 2 questions drive you. When they do, my friends, I promised you, life becomes abundant. You do great things. You serve so many people. The doors of money open out, doors of health open out, doors of, love, relationships, everything opens out. Why? Because you've got a goal bigger than you. Your goal's for service. And when you do that, everything changes. When you change from money to service, everything changes, right? And that's it, right? And that's how we roll. That's how things are. So thank you so much for listening to me for 1 full hour. So I'm going to end it now. And I hope that each and every one of you have a super, super, super blessed weekend. I hope you're healthy. I hope your families are healthy. I hope you're eating well. I hope you're exercising well. I hope you're looking after your expenses right now. And as I said, even if you haven't, and when the world opens up, make sure that you got those 5, 6, 10 months worth of savings put aside. Because even if you got hit, even if you got an uppercut this time, then Even if you got a punch to the chin this time, it's okay. One punch to the chin is okay, but next time you've got to learn how to duck. So find a way around it, right? Make sure that you earn enough and you've got enough aside. And if you're not earning enough, make sure you're spending less. Start a side hustle. I gave a webinar to 100 dentists, right? Because I was a dentist as well. I gave a webinar to 100 dentists a few days ago, and one of my big points was I gave them 5 points on how to thrive in this time. One of my biggest points was start a side hustle. Start a side hustle right now, each and every one of you. Right? Start that side hustle. Do something, because everyone thought that they're safe in their jobs, and I've realized that no one's safe. The only safety you can ever give yourself is yourself, right? The only security for yourself is yourself. And I want that security. I know that whatever happens to me, wherever I'm in the world, I know that I can make money, right? For me, that's important. It gives me peace of mind to know that, on the line, I need to be able to feed my family, bring everything home for them. I need to be able to do that. I don't want to be caught out like something like this. And thank God I wasn't, because I pivoted. I changed it around. Okay. So great stuff, right? So brilliant. Take care. Have an awesome weekend. I will see you next week. I'm not live on Monday because I've got the group I'm coaching. I'll be live on Tuesday. If you want to be part of the course, message me, please. And there's a few spaces left. Take it from there. Take care. Have a great weekend. And Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. If there's anything you need, message me. I'd love to be able to serve you, and just have an awesome weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all your love, your positivity. Just really love it. Just make the most of this time, right? Make the most of this time. Give the most, serve the most, do the most, and just grow. Each and every one of you right now can, start up that side hustle. I honestly, right now, you can make income because you can add so much value into people's lives. And when people see that you're adding value into their lives, people are willing to pay for that. That's it, right? And that's the way it happens. So thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope you have an awesome weekend. And YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to the page, please do. That would mean a lot to me. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. Thank you so much for your love, for your support. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. And just end here.